When I came in here after lunch to film this video, which I'll say the name in a minute, she was adorably asleep. I will insert picture, but apparently turning on the lights woke her up. Today though, we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag, because it's that time again. And I think I figured out the answers to all of them. There will only be one repeating, maybe. Possibly. I don't know. And maybe Sunshine will join us do the whole video. The first question is the best book that you have read in 2024. We're rubbing against my books. Okay. And numerically, this is a tie between like several of them. But let's go with the one that's not going to be brought up in any other ones first. That is Demon in White, book 3 by Christopher Rocchio. The chunkiest of them all. Oh my god. So many things happen in this book. Oh my god, like so many things. This was the first one to hit 5 stars too, I do believe, for the entire year, end of the series. Because yeah, I don't think book 2 made it quite to 5 stars either. But yeah, this just, it blew everything away that we had been building up to. Hadrian's character, our crew, and our family in the Tamerlane. The Sun Eater, though, as I've talked about so many times, is following humanity thousands of years in the future in what is called the Solan Empire that is ruling over the Milky Way galaxy. But we are at war with another intelligent alien species called the Cielson. Our main character starts out as just a boy who wants to explore and kind of maybe broker peace between us and them, and his journey to becoming what is known as the Sun Eater. And just how he goes from this innocent, wide-eyed kind of kid to a very jaded person, in the journey in between, like in the in-between book from the kid to, okay, we're a little bit jaded, brazen and brash, and it has to be my way, I'm the only one who can do this, to this, where we've seen things, unexplainable things, and now we're doing unexplainable things, and yes, this was fantastic. Okay, I can't talk too much in every single book, otherwise the video will be super long. Okay, and there's several books, because like I said, I did not want repeating things. But our other one would definitely be Kingdoms of Death, but this comes up again, so we're going to sit it back down. Sit it back down. Question 2, though, is the best sequel that you've read this year. So technically this counts, because it's the book 2 in the series, Howling Dark. Definitely one of the best sequels of the year, because it became the best series, you know. So, book 2, where Hadrian, everything had to be Hadrian's way. And then This Cursed Light by Emily Thede. This is the conclusion to the last Fenestra duology, which I absolutely love the world that this takes place in and the thought behind it. The magic system, though, is there's one girl born in each generation that has to fight off these waves of demon hordes that attack their islands. And she has so many years from when her powers come in to find her partner and train together and learn how to, you know, that way they can save their island. But unfortunately for Alessa, her powers may be a little bit too strong because she hasn't been able to find a partner and time is running out. And just the way that they happen, and people are turning against her. There's a cult that has risen up on her island that says, well, she's a fake Fenestra. That is why all of our Fontes keep dying, and she's really working with the enemy, and let's kill her. Next up is a new release that you want to read but you haven't gotten to yet, so they're released early in the year. One of these would be The Stardust Grail by Yumi Kitase. This is the second book by this author. It's not connected though to The Deep Sky, because this one is following, I think she was an art thief and now she's just settled down to like go to school for archaeology or something, but she's pulled back out into, oh, in space. She was a best art thief in space, or art recovery person, but she's pulled out on one last job and other people are after it too, and she's, you know, has to go out into it. It just sounds so very interesting. And after how The Deep Sky, right? Yes, that's the name of it, came out, there was so many things I loved about that book. There were some logistical flaws, and I know you're not supposed to, you know, think about that, but my brain hooked on those logistical flaws of things. But you're supposed to think about the emotional things. So, and then the other one, I even have a copy, The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black, the conclusion to the Stolen Heir duology, right? I think so. I think that's the name of it. Following Oak and Surin. Very excited for it, but I still haven't got to read it yet. So I really want to continue though into this world. I do. 'Cause I love her fairy stories. Most anticipated releases, yes I said releases, for the second half of 2024. The first one up has to be Wind and Truth, Book 5 in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, and the conclusion to the current arc era of Stormlight. The first half of Stormlight before we do whatever we're going to do that's like jump forward or whatever. Yes, I'm even doing a reread of all the other books and leading up to December. Cannot wait. And then one that comes out closer though is Doors of Midnight by R.R. Verity. Maybe I said that right. And this is the sequel to the first binding, in which we are following Ari in a story of similar vein to Name of the Wind 2, where he was an orphan that lived at a theater kind of, and something awful happened and he was part of a street gang, and then he went to this magic school and more things. So many things. I loved this story though. I really loved Ari as a character and how his story progressed so much. That was a horrible description of it. It's been like 2 years, I'm sorry. The question that I dislike the most, maybe because I don't want to talk about or think about these books, is the biggest disappointment of 2024. House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, completely. Because it just ruined Crescent City. And Lord of the Wilds by Annalise Sabarna. Still don't know if I'm saying her name right. That I read in May. I'm pretty sure we were promised a magic library and it was barely there, and everything just was no. Everything was just easy for the character. There was no struggle. There was no... I just disliked that book immensely. So we will move on. The biggest surprise was in January. Did I read that book in January? Is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, because I've never read any of his books. Like Foundry Side, now I want to. And I would say this is the biggest surprise too, because while I've seen Sherlock things, I've never actually read a Sherlock Holmesian novel or any of Conan Doyle's novels. Man, I can't speak. So, you know, I like some mystery stories. I do, and this is fantasy. But I really, really enjoyed this book and this world. And I probably should have made like an actual review dedicated to it, but I didn't, so it's okay. But The Tainted Cup, that was amazing. And based off the description, you would actually think there were two main characters, but there's not. There's just Cole, who works for the other character mentioned, who is our Sherlock-y character, Anna. So pretty much you're following the Watson, who he is brilliant, but he is hiding a secret from everybody except Anna, though he doesn't know that Anna knows that. I'm sorry if I spoiled that for you. But I mean, if she's brilliant, you would, like she told him, you should be, I am insulted that you thought that I wouldn't know that, or that I would care. New favorite author. Would anybody be surprised that I would say Christopher Rocchio at this point? I mean, I've read a few new authors this year. I really have. But this one's definitely going to take the cake for this year. Yes, he will. Just like how this Sun Eater series has now become one of my favorite series. Hands down. The last book, you know, no, I don't even think that the last book could bring the series out of my top list at this point, because there's just so much more. This next one, I actually have an answer for this year. And the first one, you're going to have to hang with me, because it is not because of how he is described as looking. No, this is more for who you are on the inside. Lorien Aristides. I love Lorien. Oh my gosh. His comments, his brains, I love me some, you know, smarter, like, I do. It's a personal flaw that I'm attracted to smartasses. It really is. But the next one, though, they did sound hot. And that is Rain from The Serpent and the Wings of Night. He sounded really hot. And he was thoughtful. Kind of. in ways and ruthless in ways. So yeah, that's what I got this year. But hey, I have an answer. Like last year, I did not. I do not have a new favorite character though. I don't think. I liked Anna, though you didn't see from her perspective in the Tainted Cup, and Vera Wong. And then a book that made you cry. So a book that made me cry was this. I think this is the only book that's made me cry this year. I cannot guarantee that, but like cry, had to sit the book down, could not believe this was happening. Oh man, this one was rough. This one was rough. I loved it, but I could have used my emotional support cat. She came and sat next to me while I was crying, at least. That was her supportiveness. A book that made me happy, because I read this in this bunch of the time, Service Model by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Oh my goodness, I love this so much. With Charles the robot valet and all the robots, really. Except the chief librarian. He could rot in his bolts for what happened to all of the knowledge of humanity. But all the robots, they're so funny. The most beautiful book that I got this year, which is super, super hard to choose from when you get Fairy Loot books, you know. But I'm going to go with City of Stardust. Because, yes, the cover is gorgeous. This sprayed edges, gorgeous. And the naked hardback. Well, the naked hardback's okay, but you know, purple. The inside though, mountain scene with like a sunset happening behind it, and yeah, still need to read this one too. But you know, it's still the prettiest. It was between this one and what was it? I think A Feather So Black. I think it was between these two that I was considering. Then the last question is, what book do you need to read before the end of the year? Like, there's too many to pick from, realistically. I can't. I guess Wind and Truth. I'm definitely reading that before the end of the year. I don't care if that's like the only thing I read in December, and that's like I have to dedicate all of my December to it. That is happening. I will list all the questions down below if you would like to answer them and do them into your own video, or just answer them in the comments, answer them on Discord, however you choose to do it. I just hope though that you are getting caught up with all of your goals, whatever they may be. We still have 6 months left. Fingers crossed, we can do this. And I hope you're finding something awesome to read today. You'll come back for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.